Hey, I got a few questions for the Bucks County court reporter. I have a question. Do you remember the last thing that my mom, Josh's grandmom, talked to you about? Josh had a grandmom, an aunt, me, two nephews in his life for what, 12, 14 years? And do you remember what my Josh's grandmom asked you over the phone when you guys were talking? Do you remember that conversation? Do you remember the question that she asked you? Let me tell you. It didn't realize it until today, but I owe you an apology. I didn't realize how much this is a burden to you. It must be really tough for you to carry around this secret for so long and never telling anybody. So I realized that it was like, what, just 3 years ago, Josh's grandmom, he loved, she asked you over the phone and she said to you, did you drop Josh on his head? And do you remember what you said to his grandmom that he had a relationship for the first 12 years of 13 years of his life or so, or 14 years? You know what you told her when she asked you about what happened to our son? You remember what you told her, word for word? You know what kind of explanation that I got from you when it happened? None. But you know what you told Josh's longtime grandmom? Click. And you know, it didn't register till today. I was in the shower shaving, getting ready for this, and I'm thinking to myself, man, this must have been hard for this woman of a burden to carry around. But the fact that it was 18 years later, and it wasn't you that told the family something happened to Josh on, which is going to be next month, 24 years, 22 years anniversary, 23-year anniversary. I did the math and I forgot. My mom, who's been involved with my life, my whole life, who I love to death, she asked you point blank, did you drop Josh on his head? What did you say? You hung up the phone on her. Does she deserve that? But it begs the question, if she's asking 18 years later or 23 years later, whatever it was back when this conversation happened, that means she never knew about what happened to Josh, just like I didn't know. So this is got to be a big burden for you to be carrying around with you for so long. I mean, the fact that you didn't defend yourself, you didn't say two words, you just hung up the phone. You didn't say, "Oh, well, Josh's grandmom, this is what happened that day," and you told her nothing. You gave her nothing. You gave me nothing. You gave my family. You had my family in our son's life past the time I was in it. You forbid them to let me see my son, who I had no reason to be out of his life for. You took him from me. Then you tell them they can't see. He can't. If he's with them, they can't see me. My son can't see me with them. You kept him from them. You've kept me out of his life. But to give her the honor or the respect of hearing your side of the story and never telling it, that's got to be rough. I mean, even when I had you on the stand in, what was it, 2011, and I asked you questions, you never told me the story. So I don't know. I'm the dad. I will be posting about our custody agreement that happened just a month beforehand, that was signed by a judge for joint 50-50 custody, that I had a right to know that my son was almost dead, that something happened that was kept from me. You owe me an explanation. I'm owed that. You didn't even, you blew off my mom, his grandma. What does that say about your character? Does it say that you did everything right So I want you to be able to tell your side of the story. I want you to get it off of your chest, because to hang up on the woman who's been in Josh's life for so long, throughout all of your crap that you have done, all the lies, even having Bucks County stick up for you all the time, blah, 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 blah. But tell your story. I want to hear it. I think everybody deserves. I think Josh deserves to hear it. I think that we're all kind of owed that now. And here's the thing, though. I want this done with a polygraph. I want to ask the questions for the polygraph people to ask you questions. I want you to tell you the story, because you have zero clout with me. Zero. Zero. You've earned nothing. There is nothing that has been said for how long now? Nothing you said is true. You have zero clout. So, you want to tell your side of the story? No, please go ahead. I want to hear it, because I think this is a terrible, terrible bird. But I want to sit there and I want to hear the answer. I want to hear your story. I want to hear where he was in your house. Which one of the landings, the kitchen, your bathroom, your guest bathroom. They all have big steps about this big on concrete. Was it on that step? Or was it the landing coming from the second floor down to the first floor, down a whole flight of steps into the landing, and then the landing into the bottom of the stairs, because it's like an L shape? Was it that landing? Was it going out of your garage landing? Because you said one step. So was it the one concrete step in the garage? Was it the concrete steps in the bathroom? Was the wood floor in the living room? Was it at the curb? Because the curb is about that big. So was it the curb that he fell off of? Where exactly? What part of the house did he fall off of one step and went unconscious for, and threw up and eyes rolled back of his head and vomited and cried? I mean, Leo got better treatment for his 3 leg issues than my son did about one concussion that you won't even tell his grandmom about, or anybody else. Stop living with this secret. Stop living with this burden. The county that you work for, who has clearly have circled around you and have hitched their cart to you and have been in bed with you for all this time, defending you and not letting it, let them come out and ask you the questions. Guess what? Let them do a MRI and see a neurologist for my son too. Let him get a current examination of his head to make sure that there's no damage. If the county, if you all are going to sit there and want to deny anything that happened, why don't you all start backing up some of these things that you're defending? Why don't you find out the health of my son? Why don't we find out what the true story that happened to my son that day? Tell me there wasn't attempted murder. Tell me. Somebody. Let's hear the whole story from the beginning. Because just 2 months before this happened, we were 50-50 split, and then she stole them from me. Just the month before. Her head wasn't right. She had too much going on. She flipped. There's so much that happened just a month before this happened, and then it kept going. But the problem is, and I'll relate to this. My mom made a mistake when I was a little boy, old enough, little boy, 7 years old, first grade in Farmington. My mom made a mistake. She beat the crap out of my legs with a baton, and guess what? She picked me up, and we did great things together. She did a wonderful job. My mom is my hero, because when one bad thing happened one time at a small point in time way back in the beginning of my life, which would hurt me for like the next 5 years, and I had the welts on my legs and whatnot. The issue is, the thing is my mom put me into band, she put me into piano, she put me into Cub Scouts, she put me into karate, she put me into gun lessons, she put me into wrestling and baseball and trumpet, piano, guitar, you name it. She bought me a sailboat. We did great things. I was pushed to do better my entire life. One mistake, and my whole life changed. I was out to do best. I did great with learning about the Bible. I learned great being around God's people. I great lengths to serve people. I took great lengths to learn the word before all of this happened. And there's no issues between me and my mom because nothing ever. She picked me up and she showed me how much she loves me ever since that day. Problem is that not only did that day happen, but everything after that for him was not good. Everything, I can't even talk to my son now, and I've never done anything wrong to him. So go tell your story. Get it off your chest. Allow your truth to be told. If Josh comes back fine and clear and no issues, there is no thing on his brain, I will thank you for finally finding out after 24 years. I will say thank you. I'm not going to apologize. What should have been done back then, because the doctor even knew. The doctor knew. The doctor either had a lapse in judgment in her own medical background, or she called. So she thinks she called, and that call got intercepted too. So I think the doctor would have known the fact that you walked in that office was a bully thing to do too. We all know that when you called the receptionist that day, that they would have said, rush him to the hospital, take him to the hospital. You bullied yourself. You slow played that thing. You dropped his symptoms down just to cover. Because you didn't tell the truth on that paper. There's nothing that makes sense. So tell the story. Let us all know. Get it out of your system. Be done with this secret that you've been carrying around for so long. But seriously, let Bucks County pay for it because they kind of owe us both, you know? I mean, they've covered. They've never done a thing for me. Every time I've called 15,000 times for you, let's get it done. You know, let's just move on with our lives. Let Josh know his status. That's all I'm asking. And then you could tell you passed his polygraph with all the questions that from line to line, exactly how it happened. And let me ask some questions in there too, and let me tell you, I really want to know. I really want to hear because there's so much that you have kind of hurt the people in around you and around Josh. Everybody that was there for Josh, you've heard. Your family probably doesn't even know. You tell your sister, you tell your cousins, your other relatives in Trenton, you tell them what happened to Josh? Because my mom didn't know, and she's my mom. And she's been there since Josh was born. Ish. My sister was. She didn't know. Why all the secrecy? So come out, tell your story, get it open, get Josh tested, and let's be done. Let's celebrate next month. Let's have this done by August 23rd, 2026, and we can celebrate the finality of this. Let's move on. That's all I want. So think about that. In Bucks County, out of the $500,000 y'all got for incarcerating me that you got on the back end for quickly putting me through a system without due diligence, you got the money to pay for that polygraph test. But I'd like to be involved with the whole process because I really don't trust you all. So, you know, a reputable place, someone that's going to be independent from you all, maybe somebody from Florida or California, somewhere that doesn't know what you all do.